Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Sullivan, and I'm a proud Brocktonian here in the City of Champions. Thank you. I am here today as the mayor of the City of Brockton, and on behalf of 106,000 residents, today we honor proudly one of our own, the late, great, undisputed middleweight champ, the best middleweight champ in the history of boxing, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I want to thank his wife, Kay Hagler, for being here today. I want to thank the Hagler family for being here today. I want to thank a lot of Marvelous Marvin's friends that have traveled back home to Brockton. I want to thank the incomparable Chief of Staff, Sidney Merrill, my Chief of Staff, who really spearheaded today. We designated a wonderful committee, the Statue Committee, and you'll be hearing more about that from the Chief of Staff, Sidney Merrill, in just a moment. But I want to just give a shout out because this would not have happened without a collaboration of elected officials, local and state. I want to give a special thanks to State Representative Jerry Cassidy. Thank you, Representative. I want to thank State Representative Michelle Dubois, State Representative Rita Mendez, Senator Mike Brady. We have a wonderful delegation here in the City of Brockton. We're also joined by State Representative and former boxing champ Kip Diggs. Thank you for being here today, Rep. We are here today at the Marvelous Marvin Hagler Park. It's a designated park in the City of Brockton. You're on a new street, Marvelous Marvin Hagler Way, here in the City of Brockton. And without the help of our city council, the street and the park wouldn't be here. So I want to give a shout out and a special thanks to all 11 members on the city council, led by former mayor, Councilor Lodge, the current city council president, Moses Rodriguez. I want to thank Wynn Farwell, David Texera, Jean Bradley Durancourt, Tom Minicello, Maria Tavares, Phil Griffin, Susan Nicastro, Jeffrey Thompson, and this is Councilor Thompson's ward here in Ward 5, and he's been an unbelievable advocate on this endeavor. I want to thank Councilor Jack Lally and Councilor Shirley Azak as well. I also want to thank our other local elected officials, school committee members. Again, we're all in this as a team, right? And that's one thing. Brockton is a team. We're a winning team. Losing and losing is not even in our vocabulary. Tony Rodriguez, the school committee vice chair, Jorge Vega, Claudio Gomes, Anna Oliver, Judy Sullivan, Joyce Azak, and Tim Sullivan. I want to thank them all for what they do each and every day. Now, about 2 weeks ago, this didn't exist. So I want to thank Commissioner of DPW, Pat Hill, and the wonderful DPW team and employees that contributed to this unbelievable endeavor. And on the park side, the director of the Parks Department, Tim Carpenter, and his team as well. They will be maintaining this in perpetuity. This will forever, as of today, be known as Marvelous Marvin Hagler Park. I want to thank the District Attorney, Tim Cruz, Plymouth County DA, Tim Cruz is here today as well. We also have 2 elected local officials that serve school committee on the Southeastern Regional Vocational Technical High School over in Easton, which 65% of the kids are from the City of Champs. And I want to thank Tony Branch and Gerson Montero for what they do. Police Chief Brenda Perez and her team, Fire Chief Brian Nardelli and his team for being here. We have a lot of news media here today. I know we have Chris Helms from the Enterprise and Mark, the photographer from the Enterprise. We have the Boston Globe, the Boston Herald. We have a lot. I know Channel 10 is here, Channel 7 here. There's a lot of Boston media here today. Because even though Brockton is associated with Marvelous Marvin, he loved the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. He loved Massachusetts. He trained down in P-Town. I mean, you can't go much farther than P-Town, right, in Massachusetts. So today, I just want to thank everybody for joining us. And before we begin the formal process, I would ask Reverend Ortiz to please open us up with prayer.
May we all bow our heads in prayer. Most gracious and heavenly Father, we thank you today for this beautiful day that you have made, and we, your people, will rejoice and be glad in it. And Lord, as we come to this opportunity, as we celebrate the legacy of Marvelous Marvin Hagler, I pray that this will be a joyous occasion, that we reflect and we remember all of his great accomplishments and how he touched each and everyone's life, not just only in Massachusetts, but around this globe. So we thank you for his family, his life, and all of those who are here. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. I do also want to give a shout out to a distinguished fighter in his own right, Vito Antifermo. Mr. Antifermo traveled all the way from New York City to join us here today. Thank you, Vito. Thank you, Vito. People have said to me today, Bob, why did you choose today, June 13th? And it was simple. This was the day in 1993 when Marvelous Marvin Hagler was inducted into International Boxing Hall of Fame. So that is why we have chosen today to memorialize and remember Marvelous Marvin. So before we move on with the ceremony, I just wanted to give you some personal thoughts as a kid that grew up in the 80s here in Brockton. And I was fortunate to actually attend some of Marvelous Marvin's exhibitions at Massasoit Community College, also at Brockton High in the gym, where he did some exhibitions as well. My dad took me to that. And then when he decided to open up a store down the street, I stood in line for 4 hours to meet Marvelous Marvin, have him autograph a poster, meet Bo Derek from Hollywood, and another guy, Gregory Harrison, who was on a TV show, Trapper John MD. But I also played community school basketball with Junior, Marvin's son. And I told this story the other day. We played at Hancock School Community Basketball League. We weren't on the same team, but we did a league trip into the old Boston Garden. And we all met at Hancock School. We all jumped on a bus to go see the Harlem Globetrotters at the Garden. And I was there with my dad, and right next to me was Junior and his dad. And honest to God, it was the champ, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. But that day, he was there just as a father. And the only difference between him and my dad, we sat up on the rafters, and you remember the old Garden, we were way up in the nosebleed sections. The only difference was right before halftime, they asked Junior's dad to go down on the parquet, and he was in the middle of the Lucky the Leprechaun, and they honored him as the champ, and I'll never forget that. And he just jumped back on the bus with us afterwards, and he was just Junior's dad again. But I'll say one thing about Marvelous Marvin. He never forgot where he came from. So today, he is not here physically, but he is here in spirit. And I have to also give a shout out to a dear woman that passed, May Lang, Marvin's mom. May Lang, I had the honor as the mayor of Brockton to share a couple dinners with May and sit next to her over at the annual scholarship event at Massasoit. She was a phenomenal woman. She loved her family. She loved her grandkids. She loved her great-grandkids. She also loved this community. She loved Brockton, Massachusetts. And so I miss her. We all miss her. I had the honor to speak at her funeral. And she knew this day was coming. She knew we were going to honor her boy. But there's another boy who was an awesome fighter that beat Duran, Rockin' Robbie Sims. Rockin' Robbie Sims. Now, Robbie couldn't be here today, but he is here again with us in spirit and mind. And, you know, when we think about Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Brockton, I remember him coming up to Summerfest, which is, if you're as old as me, we used to do it every year up at Brockton High. And he'd walk around Summerfest, and he'd have a Sharpie in his hand, and he'd sign anything and everything for any little kid. It didn't matter. It did not matter. And then later on in life, when we honored the Petronelli brothers, Goody and Pat, I remember him coming over to George's Cafe on Belmont Street, still had that Sharpie in his hand, signing autographs, not just for boys and girls, but it didn't matter, anybody and everybody. If you had posters or Sports Illustrated or boxing gloves, he didn't care, he just signed it. That's what he was, right? But that's what Brockton is. So we are on Marvelous Marvin Hagler Way, and people had said to me again, Mayor, when we came to fruition with this, you know, where are you going to put it? Rocky's statue. And again, Rocky's statue is up at the stadium, and it was a gift for the World Boxing Council to the city of Brockton. But this is a gift from the state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, because of Jerry Cassidy and delegation getting us $150,000, right? And what I said was, I only know one place, a fitting tribute. And they said, where's that? And I said, when I was a boy, it was called Ward Street. Now it's called Petronelli Way. Marvin would run up and down here because that building right there was Petronelli Brothers Gym. That building right there was where he trained to become a champ. So again, we are here today to think about Marvelous, the human being. He was a gentleman outside of the ring, but he was a beast inside that ring. If you wanted to box, he'd box. But if you wanted to slug, he'd go at it. And he wouldn't stop, right? The 3 rounds against Hearns was the absolute best 3 rounds in the history of boxing. Not just middleweight, in the history of boxing. So when we talk about the undisputed middleweight champ of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, from 1980 to 1987, 12 successful title defenses, 11 by KO. 11 by KO. And so why I mention that is Brockton, you know, we're not a wealthy community when you look at a financial ledger. What our wealth is the people of Brockton, the people that get knocked down and get back up, the people that are committed to dedication for a better life, and that's what Marvin Hagler did. And in the ring, if you knocked him down, you weren't going to knock him out, that's for sure. He was going to get back up, and he was going to be slugging, coming right back at you, right? Throwing the left, throwing the right. He was a southpaw, but he could naturally switch, and we saw him against Hearns do that. So today, I thank you for being here, but I really want to thank Rep. Cassidy, because when I had mentioned to Jerry, I'd love to do a tribute, you know, to Marvelous Marvin, and he said, absolutely, Bob. What do you need? And I'm on it. What do you need and what do you need and I'm on it? That's a public servant. So Jerry Cassidy, thank you very, very much. So again, we talk about his record, and Jim Fenton followed all of Marvin's fights for the Brockton Enterprise, and Jim's here. I called him last week and asked him to speak. But again, he was 62-3-2, 67 fights, 52 by KO. And all of us here today have the same opinion. He did not lose to Sugar Ray Leonard, I'll tell you that. So we want to thank Brockton Studios in Minnesota, nationally recognized. When you see this sculpture, you're going to think it's Marvelous standing right there throwing his natural stance. But Brockton is recognized nationally. They actually just did a statue for Prince. The estate of Prince has asked a statue. This one's better in my opinion. But I will tell you this, today will go down in the history of the city of Brockton. It is a proud day of many proud days. And as mayor, I proudly proclaim and declare today Marvelous Marvin Hagler Day in the city of Brockton, Massachusetts. 02301, 02302. So at this time, it is my honor to invite Massachusetts State Representative Jerry Cassidy to the podium. Thank you, Representative.
What a great job, Mr. Mayor. I have a lot of the same memories as Bob, but the only problem is I never met Bo Derek. I met my wife, you know, basically. So thank you, Bob. Marvin Hagler, world champion. You know, I have so many fond memories. My father and I went up to the Brockton High Gym. It was my confirmation day. We went up there, and on the Tony Petronelli was on the card. He was a phenomenal friend, great guy, and wonderful fighter. He won in 10 rounds. Marvin Hagler was there, his pro debut, and after he won that in 2 rounds, knockout. He only got $50. Imagine that, his first round, got $50. You know, my dad and I went over to Massasoit there for the big screen TV. Everybody's got big screen TVs now in every single room. But we had hundreds of people over there. The electricity was unbelievable. And, you know, they didn't even need chairs because we stood for the whole 3 rounds. I didn't realize you were there, Bob. But, you know, Marvin was phenomenal. We lived through him because right a few months ago, this building here at Petronelli's Gym had a big X on it. It was ready for demolition. And because of Marvin and the Petronellis, this building here is now, Ted Carmen, you know, put a lot of money into it, housing, which we need an awful lot of housing here in the city of Brockton. This has been long overdue, And I thank the mayor and the House of Representatives, Kip Diggs. Thank you very much. And my good friend Calvin Brown from Chelsea. He's a city councilor in Chelsea and two-time Golden Glove boxer. So now we can say Marvin Hagler, world champion, City of Brockton. Thank you.
This time, it's my honor to invite to the podium Massachusetts State Senator Michael Brady. Senator.
Thanks, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the committee to put this all together and to all the distinguished guests here today to honor a great champion, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. We are honored here, and you know, it's like the story of Cain and Abel. When Marvin fought Donnell in a street fight, he decided to walk into Petronelli's gym and to turn his life around and saved his life. And the Petronelli brothers, which my family knew very well as the Hagler family, they, as was mentioned, trained Tony, trained Robbie Sims, and we can never forget. And he put Brockton back on the map, becoming the world middleweight champion of the world. And I am so grateful to be here. I want to thank the Hagler family. And we can never forget Marvin's mother, because without our mothers, we wouldn't be here. And thank God his mother decided to come to Brockton, Massachusetts. And I wouldn't be here as elected officials. Ida May made phone calls for me when I'm running for office. If you get a call from Marvin Hagler's mother to vote for Mike Brady, how can you say no? So I want to thank the Hagler family and everybody who came out today. And I'm just honored to be here. We changed the name of Ward Street to Petronelli Way. This is Marvin Hagler's Road. And thank you to Rep. Cassie. And I want to thank Rep. Cassie for filing this legislation to get the money for the statue initially, because he's done a great job. We served together in the State House, and we also served together in the City Council for many, many years. And we have so many great memories of watching those fights at the high school. And then the Hearns and Hagler fight was the best 3 rounds that we've ever seen. So God bless you all, and thank you for coming today.
At this time, it is my honor and privilege to invite, on behalf of the Hagler family, Reverend Ortez Vandross. Reverend. Thank you, friend.
Good morning, all. And thank you, Mayor Sullivan, for the honor to represent Mrs. Ida Mae Lang, the Hagler and the Sims family. As the mayor just stated, I am Reverend Ortez Vandross, the proud pastor of the Full Gospel Tabernacle Church, located here in the city of Brockton. And I've had the privilege and honor of serving as the pastor for Mrs. Lang and her family for many years. And on behalf of the Lang and the Hagler family, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you to recognize, for you recognizing Marvelous Marvin Hagler and honoring his legacy with a statue that will be a memorial of his life lessons, hard work, and dedication that he learned from his mom. Special thanks to Mayor Sullivan, Senator Mike Brady, State Representative Jerry Cassidy, for your unwavering support and dedication to making this dream of having a statue of Marvelous Marvin Hagler a reality. Your efforts, combined with contributions of many unnamed individuals who have donated monies to this great cause, have not gone unnoticed and are deeply appreciated. It is through your collective efforts that we are all honored with this remarkable figure. Now, many people ask the question, where did Marvelous originate from? The story is told that Marvelous was created because the networks and the boxing announcers refused to recognize his nickname. They would introduce all the other boxers by their nickname except for Marvin. And Marvin decided to change his name to Marvelous Marvin Hagler to gain the attention and respect he deserved. He was marvelous. Marvelous Marvin Hagler. was amazing, astounding, incredible, breathtaking, sensational, remarkable, and spectacular. Many knew him for his dazzling smile, charisma, charming personality, intimidating presence, and killer instinct in the ring. Yet Marvelous Marvin Hagler was a lover of people. He was a philanthropist who donated monies to the Hanover Boys and Girls Club so that the boys and girls would have a safe haven and grow and develop as young adults. Since 1987, he has awarded hundreds and hundreds of dollars to students to attend Massasoit Community College who desire to pursue their education yet lack the funding. He was marvelous. Marvelous Marvin Hagler is a true embodiment of the spirit of Brockton, demonstrating his toughness, perseverance, community, and dedication, both and inside the ring. His achievements are not just his own, they reflect the spirit of the City of Champions, Brockton, Massachusetts. We are not just proud, we are honored to have such a remarkable figure associated with us, a figure who has left an indelible mark on our community and our hearts. He was marvelous. In closing, I'm a preacher, so I got to give you a little word. There is a biblical narrative text in the book of John, and the question rings out, is there any good thing that can come out of Nazareth? The reply was, come and see. This morning, I would like to rephrase that question and ask you, is there any good thing that can come out of Brockton, Massachusetts? And if you know, can you shout, yeah? The answer is astounding, yes. A left-hander, southpaw middleweight champion of the world, a world and international boxing Hall of Famer, philanthropist, humanitarian, actor, our hometown hero. This statue behind me will be a testimony to future boys and girls and Brocktonians about the importance of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. He was simply Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Unbelievable words. Thank you very much, Reverend Vandross. There's a few other people here today. I mean, all of you, I want to thank you for being here. But there's a guy that I met at West Junior High and Brockton High, and we went to Boston College together, and he has never forgotten the city of Brockton. He's a New York Times best-selling author. His name is Dave Wedge, right over here. Dave's doing a book right now on Marvelous Marvin Hagler that was picked up yesterday by Hollywood. So there'll be a book, and there'll be soon a movie about Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Dave, thank you for being here today. Met with this gentleman the other day, and I know he's a dear friend of the Hagler family, Jimmy Myers. And Jimmy came into my office the other day to share some more stories. And he was in Edmonton for the Stanley Cup, and he flew back here today. So I want to thank you, Jimmy, for being here. And we're going to hear some really good stories from Mr. Fenton. Again, he really captured the fights and leading up to the fights for the Brockton Enterprise. But I do want to share one quick story that May Lang shared with me the last time we sat together over at Massasoit during the scholarship dinner. She told me that after Marvin had knocked out Alan Mentor, and we all saw that on TV. You didn't have to pay for it then, it was on free TV, right? And he knocked out Mentor, and I said, how did you feel? Your boy had just become the champ. And she said, well, I'll be honest with you, Mayor, it was a little scary because the bottles, and I remember that, they were covering Marvin in the ring. But it even got a little scarier because when they put May and some of the family members into a limousine, some of the hooligans that were at the fight were trying to tip over the limousine. And she said to me, my boy had just become the champ and I have faith in God. And we know she has faith in God from what we just heard from Pastor Vandross. So again, thank you very much, Pastor. This time I'd like to have Mr. James Fenton, Jim Fenton, a retired sports reporter, award-winning sports reporter, unbelievable man who decided to come here today to talk about his friend Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Jim.
Well, good morning. Thank you to Mayor Bob Sullivan, Kay Hagler, the Hagler family, for inviting me to take part in this well-deserved ceremony to honor one of the greatest fighters in the history of boxing. It's a proud day for the Hagler family and for the city of Brockton. I first started writing about Marvin when I was in college, working as an intern at a newspaper in Quincy in the mid-1970s. The first fight of his that I covered was at the old Roseland Ballroom in Taunton, where he stopped Bob Smith in five rounds. I remember interviewing Marvin after the fight downstairs in a makeshift locker room where there was one light bulb hanging from the ceiling, and that was it. It was hardly a glamorous setting, but I remember thinking that night, after he improved to 27-2-1, there seems something special about this guy. Indeed, there was, and I was fortunate enough to join the Marvelous Marvin Hagler ride full-time 5 years later. I was hired by the Enterprise, worked in this building right over here, and started covering everything that was Marvin beginning in 1982 when he decked a guy named William Caveman Lee in just over a minute. I figured this was going to be an easy gig, 1 minute of work. That was good. But that was the first of 10 straight championship fights. I was ringside watching Marvin climb up the ranks as one of the all-time great middleweights, taking on each and every challenge. We spent 10 days in San Remo, Italy for the Folio Bell fight, and that was quite an experience. We made 5 trips to Vegas for fights and 1 to Madison Square Garden. I accompanied Marvin and his family to the White House when they were hosted by President Ronald Reagan in March of 1986. Another unforgettable experience. What a ride it was, and what an honor it was to represent the hometown newspaper of such a great champion as he became a worldwide figure. The gym was right here, the newspaper was right there, and every time I saw Marvin's car, I'd walk over and have a nice interview with him in the gym. It was great. Marvin loved being known as a champion from Brockton. He took pride in standing in the ring before championship fights and having the announcer say, "And in this corner, weighing 159 pounds from Brockton, Massachusetts, Marvelous Marvin Hagler." I remember at his Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend in upstate New York in 1993, when during a press conference, he made sure to point me out to everyone as his reporter from Brockton. Back in 1999, when Marvin was back in the city to take part in the ceremony honoring Goody and Pat Petronelli, my editor wanted me to get a one-on-one with him for a front page story. It was a hectic day. Marvin hadn't been back here in a while. Everybody wanted a piece of him, and he was just tough to get near, and I was having no luck. So I turned to his good friend, Johnny Marion, and he bailed me out, went to Marvin and told him, "Marvin, this is the Enterprise. They need you." And 10 minutes later, I was sitting next to him for a long interview. Thank you, Johnny. Brockton loved having Marvin as his second world champion after Rocky Marciano. I can recall his first title defense against Folio Bell in January 1981 at Boston Garden. This is before I was covering the fights. The fight was on HBO, and back then, very few people subscribed to that network. One place that did have it was a Holiday Inn near the Westgate Mall. So on that night, myself and a bunch of friends rented a room, gathered to watch the 8-round knockout, and as soon as Marvin finished off O'Bell, a lot of people, including us, checked out of the rooms and headed home. That's the kind of draw Marvin was. I remember telling Marvin during one of the Las Vegas trips that every time I walked along the strip, all I would see was people from Brockton walking up and down, no doubt looking for the best odds to bet on him. So it's fitting that Marvin will forever be here via this statue, facing his old gym where he put in such hard work. I've covered a lot of athletes over 50 years, and Marvin has got to be the hardest working and the most dedicated guy I've ever been around. The city of Brockton should never forget what he did during his marvelous career, and this statue will be a reminder forever. Thank you.
Also want to recognize, and he's 13-0, undefeated light middleweight. Is it light middleweight? Kevin Walsh. Lightweight, Kevin Walsh for being here today. Thank you, Kevin. You know, we heard about Marvin's love for Massasoit and financially the benefits that the Foundation Scholarship has provided to many, many, many students. Today, Bill Mitchell, who is serving as the interim president of Massasoit Community College, is here, and we want to thank Bill for being here. And we also want to just take a moment to remember Ray DiPasquale, who was the president that passed so suddenly recently. If we could just take a moment for 1 second. May he rest in peace. Bill, please come to the podium. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Boy, it's really humbling to stand here as a kid who was born and raised in Brockton down on the south side to be here today. Well, east side too, but we were from the south side. Occasionally we'd wander to the east side. I first met the champ. I was a bouncer at a nightclub in the city of Brockton. I'm not going to tell you where it was, but there may be a bowling alley attached to it. And it may be on the west side of the city. And I can remember coming in and seeing this guy walk in, and everyone knew who he was, and he was so gracious. He was so gracious and kind to the people who worked there. I never get asked to throw him out, and if I was asked, I wouldn't have thrown him out anyway. But it's quite an honor to be leading Brockton's college, Massasoit Community College. And although the champ was known for being a tenacious fighter, in fact, he came to our commencement several years ago, and I shook his hand, and he's scared. He scared me. I mean, he looked like he could still take me out with one punch. And he was an imposing figure. But I'm here just to talk about, and you've heard a little bit about it today, the impacts he's had on our students. He understood what education did for young people. He understood how it broke down barriers. He understood that it was meant to improve people's lots and lives, to give them opportunities they wouldn't have without an education. He not only understood it, but very quietly, he used his fame and his success to help others in the terms of financial contributions to the college. He has literally helped thousands of kids realize that, A, they're smart enough to go to college. They belong in college. And their lots in life can be improved by coming to Massasoit Community College. He was a member of our Board of Trustees. And Marvelous Marvin Hagler will be forever connected to Massasoit Community College. In fact, I am going to commit, when we bring students in for tours, orientations, we're going to bring them right here.
Good job, Billy.
We want everyone to know that Marvelous Marvin Hagler is a significant part of what we do at Massasoit. And we're going to tell the story so it never gets lost. I remember May coming to us and saying she wanted to do a scholarship event at the college. And she said to me, I don't want people to forget him. And I made a promise to May Lang that we will not forget your son and that we will forever keep him in the hearts of Massasoit. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank everyone who had an opportunity, who participated in this. I got to run, brother.
I'll see you over there. I'm heading over there.
Yeah, we'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you, President Mitchell. At this time, I had mentioned her at the beginning. Sydney Merrow is my chief of staff at City Hall. Her late husband, Bo Merrow, and Sydney were personal friends of Marvelous Marvin and socialized with Marvelous Marvin. This wonderful painting that was donated to the city of Brockton hangs in Sydney's office at City Hall. You know, when I had asked her if she would share the statue committee, I don't think I was able to get all the words out before she said, yes, I will. And at this time, I'd like to recognize her and invite her to the podium because none of us would be here today without the 24/7 efforts for many, many, many months to make this day a reality. So, Sydney, please come to the podium.
You all right, Mark? Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here And I want to share that it's a very surreal experience because I'm going to make this short. Marvin built a fireplace in my mom's home after she lost it to a fire back in the late 70s. Wonderful man, wonderful work. It's fabulous. I got to meet him about 6 or 7 years later with my then friend, Bo Marrow, and we socialized, and I won't tell you where we hung out, but anyway, there was no bowling alley. At any rate, we became, fast friends, and he was always charming and always a gentleman. And then to turn around, fast forward so many years, and be sitting in the role that I'm sitting in now and being asked to work on a statue for such an icon whom my husband adored. It's surreal. It's surreal. And I do thank my husband for that. Absolutely. So, but it's not all about me because it's a team effort. Now, while I did do a lot of the work, and as the ladies in the house know, we always have to. I had a great team. Yeah, keep laughing. We had a great team, and our team consisted of John Marion, who was a personal friend. Thank you, John. Robert Jenkins, who was a former director of BRA, who is now with Mass Development. Thank you, Robert. Peter Zimbor, who unfortunately could not be here today, and Peter assisted May in letting her know what we were doing. So I'm going to share very briefly that this is while it is the anniversary of him entering the Hall of Fame, it's also the anniversary of his fight with Vito Antuofermo. So we have two significant days. Two special days to remember. And I also would be remiss if I did not thank the DPW Commissioner, Pat Hill, who literally took me around and helped me pick the pavers and the benches and the trash receptacle and the fence. We also planted a tree in the corner in memory of May. So she'll always be here with her son. And and Veronica shared with me that her birthday is June 17th, so happy birthday, Mom. In addition to that, I had the honor to also meet the beautiful Mrs. Kay Hagler. She is warm, she is wonderful, she is loving, she is my new friend, my forever friend, and I'm happy to be able to share this time with her because what we have in common is that we both lost the men of our lives. So thank you to, I'm sorry, I got twisted. The gentleman who put down the pavers who worked in the city, Chad Salucci, Daryl Mendez, and Manuel Hernandez did a phenomenal job out of their scope of work. They worked long and hard. I thank the three of them immensely for getting this done because I was a pain. Yes, put it over there. No, put it over there. Yes, that's me. Also, Jeff Keenan, who works for DPW, did the drone work. He helped me do the formal design. I designed on a piece of paper, and he actually put it on a computer. So thank you to Jeff as well. These gentlemen, I could not have done it without them. And a huge shout out to Tim Carpenter, who is our Parks Commissioner. He also helped to make sure the sod was down and the trees were watered and the grass was watered, and we couldn't have done it without everybody. And then my office staff, our team at City Hall who put together programs and posters and put up with me changing my mind every 5 minutes. I thank them, Suzanne, Kevin, Stephanie, Joe, Celia and Jasmine are back watching the shop. Alicia could not be here. And John Macia is on vacation. So anyway, thank you so much for being here. And I think at this time,
we also want to thank the custodial staff led by Brian Matter. All of these chairs and everything's been installed today, and we want to thank them. At this time, another member of the committee, but also a dear friend, and his brother Paul is here, and family members, the Marions. John Marion, please come to the podium, Johnny.
So the phone rings one day. I pick it up. Hey, it's the marvelous one. So we get into a conversation, talk about whatever, and inadvertently, you know how much I love Brockton. So we start talking about history. So I'm telling him, I do these history tours, and, I'm going to take the kids around, show them all the different things. The first department store, Santa, going to take them down to your gym, bring them over to the shop over there. You got the picture of him up there. And, he's starting to listen a little bit now. We're going to bring him over to see the picture of you. It's a history timeline. So next time he's in town, he shows up, because that's what he did. He just showed up, Walked right in the store just like he didn't unannounced. He just showed up. And, hey, tell me about this history tour you got. So I said, all right, let's walk it around, right? So we're walking around. We come down here with Kay, we're talking about, he goes, John, if they ever do a statue for me, I think maybe by the gym would be good, right here, when we came down here, did Petronelli Way, with Goody and Patton. I think it would be good. So if they ever do, then maybe this would be good, because then I'm with everybody. I don't want to be like somewhere that, I'm not with everybody, because I want to be with everybody. That was Marvin. That was him. I mean, listen, I want to thank the mayor. I want to thank everybody, for Jerry. I want to thank Sydney for did an unbelievable job on this. It's amazing the work that she did, but I want to thank you all for coming to this marvelous dedication of one of the greatest boxers of all time. And my friend, okay, I might get emotional. All right, relax. I love the man. Undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Marvelous Marvin Hagler. I met him when I was 19 years old. My dad, John, who he was very close with, introduced me at the restaurant next to the tuxedo store. My first exchange was, and he wasn't that older than me, but I don't know for whatever. Hello, Mr. Hagler. My father's told me a lot about you. That first exchange grew into a lifelong friendship where he got to know my entire family, and he became just Marvin to us. He shared important family times with us, with his wife, Kay, and throughout, he kept us connected by sharing moments of his life, like the time, this is just random, phone call comes in, he wore one of our tuxedos for a commercial. He called, like, excited, because he was always excited. Hey, John, do you know where I am? I'm like, no, Marvin, where are you? He's like, well, I'm doing a commercial in Atlanta, and I'm wearing one of your tuxedos. You see, he always made an effort to make us a part of his experiences, Paul and I. I mean, he always would make it time just to be a part of his experiences. But yet, when I reflect about Marvin, I think about many things, and these are the things that stand out. His tenacious work ethic. Oh, yeah, we all know that. Sense of humor. Man, this guy. His loyalty and his love for people, especially the younger generation. Marvin's work ethic was like nothing I've ever seen. He'd walk into the store, once again, randomly. It'd be prom season, 100,000 people in there. This kid works hard. He's telling all the kids that are in there, this kid works hard. This family works hard. Work ethic. He wanted to be the best, and the best he became. He began boxing at an early age, and he set his sights to be the greatest, and he worked tirelessly, diligently to achieve that goal, but it didn't end there. When he retired from boxing, acting came into his sights, and he worked very hard to master that craft. He starred in several movies, Indio with Brian Dennehy, Indio 2, Virtual Weapon, many commercials. We all remember the Right Guy commercial. And Saturday Night Live. Yeah, I get a call from the wardrobe department Saturday night. Hey, Marvelous Marvin Hagler's going to be on. He goes, can you send us his dimensions? Yeah, okay. He wanted to show that being a boxer didn't limit his achievements. Rather, it opened the door for other opportunities. Being around him for so many years, I watched him grow as a public speaker, but also as a person. I'm sure his acting experience was instrumental in his growth in his public speaking, and we witnessed it. Our family was there, my wife, my brother Paul, my wife Shirley, and Paul's wife, Elvon. We were all there. In the Las Vegas Boxing Hall of Fame, I witnessed something that I just knew that this guy finally got to where he wanted to be. 2015, a 4-minute speech. Mayweather talked for an hour and cleared the room. Marvin talked for 4 minutes, and he was poignant, impactful, sincere, and endearing. ending it with this quote to his wife, Kay: "Success is nothing without someone to share it with." I love you, babe. Oh, and then there was his sense of humor, which was infectious. He loved playing practical jokes. He loved so much to laugh, so much that whenever you were together with him, and whenever we were together, it was impossible not to laugh. Yet it was his loyalty that defined a quality that would be true to his character. The best example of that was the triangle, the bond between three men: Pat Petronelli, Goody Petronelli, and Marvin. This bond was developed early in his life, was never broken, and always respected throughout their lives. But for all of these qualities which made up this man, the last one will resonate with me forever: his love for people, especially the younger generation. A quote of his says it best: "To children everywhere, you are the future and have the right to dream of a free world of happiness." He believed that education was paramount to opening the door of the opportunity. He believed in encouraging them to be whatever they wanted. We heard it from Bill Mitchell, how important he was to Massasoit. He and Kay were very charitable and gave their time to many organizations sponsoring youth, including many charities working towards transforming young lives around the world. Around the world. You see, this ferocious warrior in the ring that we all witnessed was a gentle human being with a huge heart. He always had time for people, and most of all, young people. I was privileged to know this side of him over the years because we were with Marvin and Kay, often seeing him embrace an ordinary exchange with young admirers, either asking for an autograph, wanting to be in a photo, or always with a smile and always welcoming. That's what I'll remember most. It makes him one of us. His celebrity, oh, and he was a celebrity, never became larger than who he was, because in the end, he was just one of us, a regular guy who never forgot where he came from or who he was. I'm proud of this man, who is my friend, who wanted to use his celebrity to help everyone around him get better and to be with the people and to just be one of us. So on this marvelous day in this great city of Brockton, I will miss my friend, but I know this statue of the great warrior will be a constant reminder that he's working again and will forever be working with us in this park, next to his gym, with all the people who loved and embraced him, reminding us to work hard, dream, be the best we can for the future. God bless you, Marvin. God bless us all.
At this time, thank you, John. Thank you. At this time, we invite Mr. Vito Antifermo if he'd like to come and just share a couple words. Thank you again for traveling here. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, guys. I really have, much to say, but, I became a very good, after we fought twice, I became very good friend with him. As you know, he moved to Italy, and I was there. I didn't even know he was there, but I went there back in 1990 to make a movie, The Godfather. I don't know if anybody's seen me in that movie, Godfather Part 3. And, of course, when I went there, all the papers were writing about me, and he found out I was there. At the time, he was living in Naples. I was in Rome filming that film. One day I get a call in my hotel room that he wanted to part there. I tried everything to have him in a movie with me, but they couldn't, because they already had the script written, so they couldn't change the script. They said we can't do it. But I had a pleasure of hanging out with him for about a couple of weeks in Rome back in 1990. That's when we filmed The Godfather Part 3. So I became even better. I was a friend with him anyway, before that. But I only knew him as a fighter. But when I was in Italy, I was with him a couple of weeks. I hung out with him. I felt like I became a brother of his. So not only was a great fighter, but he had a great personality too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Mr. Antifermo and his girlfriend traveled from New York here to come here today to Brockton. That speaks a lot about Vito Antifermo. So again, thank you so much for being here today. The last speaker today was married to Marvelous Marvin Hagler for 31 years. Kay Hagler is an unbelievable person. She came into my office a little while ago. There's a lot of family and friends that have traveled today. At this time, it truly is my honor to invite to the podium Mrs. Kay Hagler.
I know. Hi. It's nice to be here today and see all of you. They show how much love.
Okay. Take your time. Take your time.
Because I don't meet the fighter, I meet the person. I meet the man. And he was very unique. He was a one of a kind. He was a very beautiful person. And I miss him a lot. But today is his day, it's a special day, and we have to celebrate him, only him. And I can't wait the way he look like. You know, I don't know, I want to see it. So, but I want to thank everybody to be here, and I know that he watched and he loved that because he loved people. He loved people. And, you know, I wish he was here today, but it's not. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Kay.
Marvin Hagler Statue.
All right.
I'm his son. So y'all know I'm his son. Right? We got family members.
Yeah. I like it. Love it.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Tags you with that, you're out.
It's funny, we his own kids.
I know it. You can't even
We his
get
own kids, we can't even get in. But
Yeah.
that's funny.
Come on.
Family.
Yeah, now
Let's
it's
go.
family.
Come on, brother.